I walked into a bank the other day and just kind of joking around, saying everybody's surviving this week. No, it went in on like Tuesday. Yes, yesterday. And I was talking to them and I was like, hey, you guys surviving the week? And they're like, I just close my eyes and I don't look at it. And I'm like, oh man, you guys, you haven't even seen anything. If you haven't been in cryptocurrency before, then you know nothing. We've seen 50% in a week, no problem, all the time. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And I hope you guys are having a great week. I know I was not on yesterday. I was running around doing a bunch of stuff. And by the time the end of the day came, I was just like, I don't have the energy to do it. But here I am in the morning ready to rock. And so we had a lot going on yesterday in markets and just really in the United States regarding, there were primary elections yesterday. We had rate cuts from the Fed yesterday. The whole kitchen sink is getting thrown at the economy to try to save it. And it's being disguised under the current scary thing that's in the media right now. But we got to fight that thing with rate cuts. You know what I mean? So today we're going to take a look at these charts and we're going to see what can we take of it. Is there anything to take of it? And this might just be more of kind of just a little recap of what we've had going on for the last few days, because really not a whole lot has happened, but we'll take a real quick peek back at it again and then see, what's coming up in the future, because I do think a bigger move is coming very soon. So hard to pinpoint timing in regards to, is it going to be today? Is it going to be in 3 days? Either way, it should be coming within the next few days that we at least get out of this range that we're in. So as you can see, Bitcoin respecting moving averages on the weekly time frame, still above the 50-week moving average. We'll see how any of that plays out. Bringing it back down to the daily time frame, well, it's just violating moving averages left and right, like it kind of has in the past on the daily time frame. Heading over to XRP, we're still battling in all of this zone, but I really just don't think it matters. I'm really going to go based off Fibonacci retracement levels, in that I am going to stick to the bias that XRP is in a bullish trend, and that this is merely just a retracement of the entire bullish move that we had right here. Now, sometimes you'll see me put this Fibonacci retracement tool upside down just for visualization purposes, and that way you can see that it has come down to the 0.702 Fibonacci retracement level. I do believe it is just a retrace, and I have been accumulating this zone. I am fully entered long in this market, so we'll see which way it goes, but I am very biased that we are going to break out to the upside. I'll break this down on a smaller time frame. You can see this thing has been worked out for quite a while. It is time for us to get a breakout, and that should be coming, I would guess, within the next day to 3 days, that we will see some type of break out of this range, and I am certainly expecting it to go to the upside. Heading back on over to CoinTrader and taking a look at the fractal that we had overlaid from the past and whether or not we are still holding this level, you could see that we are still holding it perfectly. So I do expect a bounce to the upside, not just because of the fractal, but also because of, like we just mentioned, those Fibonacci retracement levels. If this is a bullish move, then a 70% retracement of the bullish move would be perfectly normal and perfectly fine. It is scary. It is what typically happens to people with their emotions getting swung in one direction, whether it's a retracement of 70% to the upside or 70% to the downside. That is usually where you see the most either FOMO come in or FUD come in. And as you saw with this 70% retracement, we got some FUD news released just at the right time, right at this accumulation zone. And that's bullish to me. As for the US stock market, it looks like the Dow is set to open up about 650 points to the upside. Hard to know what any of that really means. Is this thing really breaking down? Is it not really breaking down? You can ask every professional analyst in the world for the true reality of what is happening here, and it's really hard to know. Now, when you look at an actual bubble formation, like if this thing wants to actually continue going on a monstrous bubble and still have a decade of bubble left in it, the best case scenario is that it actually comes down into here. And we've seen this with previous bubbles in the past, that once the Dow, here we'll put this on the bigger time frame here, in this formation, once it breaks out to the upside and clears the top, you usually see this double bounce thing, and then it'll break out. And if you want to continue this bubble much higher, you come back and you test this level one more time. So if this thing is going to continue a bubble that's going to go much, much, much higher, you would expect that it would come down and hit this level first, and then it's free to go do it even more. However, if this thing does break to the upside now, I mean, we're pretty much just counting our days. We're counting our days until this thing is in complete and utter collapse. So while it sounds crazy, the best case scenario for the United States stock market would be a 40% crash from right here, and that would buy you at least another decade of bull. However, any breakouts any higher than this, I just can't come up with a scenario that would extend it further. If it goes higher than it is now, which it seems like they're trying to do, right? They're throwing everything they possibly can at it. This is not going to be political. I'm just sharing with you what the what the president posted yesterday, and he posted the Federal Reserve is cutting, but must further ease, so quantitatively ease, and most importantly, come into line with other countries and competitors. We are not playing on a level field, not fair to USA. It is finally time for the Federal Reserve to lead, more quantitative easing and more rate cutting. So, and then of course we got XRP Yoda coming on in here, hitting level playing field XRP Yoda. Follow him. Great guy. But as you can see, we're calling for more rate cutting. We're calling for more quantitative easing when we're in the greatest economy ever, right? We have overnight repo bailouts. We have quantitative easing. None of it makes any sense that everything is great. So like I mentioned in my last video, there's certain things that keep me up at night, and it is absolutely not the current price of XRP. It's what is the big picture of what all is going on, because I think anybody can admit it's all quite confusing. Why is the stock market at record highs? Why is everything so great? And why are we doing quantitative easing and rate cutting at this high of a stock market? We can see that we're in wave 5 of wave 5. We can see that the volatility is insane and this thing can lose back to back to back 1,000 point days. What is going to happen when this market does crash and there's no tools left to throw at it? Where is safety? Where is it going to be? And I think where do you go with your money in order to be safe during something like that? And I think we're all trying to solve that answer. And I think the obvious answer is not to go into equities, right? Not to go buy the stock market. Even if this thing does do another 30 or 40% pump, for a blow off top, is that really the smartest place to be long-term investing your money? Likely not, right? So we're trying to find those different scenarios of where do you see that new market cycles can begin. And when we look at like gold and silver, particularly silver, and then cryptocurrencies as well, which have completed long bear markets and are now starting to turn the corner, we see that, this is where they could flock to. But timing it and figuring out when exactly is all this stuff going to fall apart, because we can all admit it. The stock market's in a bubble. The thing is going to fall at some point. Whether or not it has one more parabolic blow off top to it is unknown, at least unknown to people like you and me. But it does seem that they're trying to get their parabolic blow off top by doing all the quantitative easing and all of the rate cutting while the markets are at the highs. And that just brings into, big concern of what's the plan, right? What is the plan for when the thing falls? Because it has to fall. Even if it goes on one more ride up, it has to fall. So what's the plan? And I think that's why riddlers get so much attention. That's why, people who just, the theorists get so much attention, is because we all see the problem. But the answer to the problem, it's not super clear. They are clearly up to something. And unfortunately, I don't have the real answer for you on what is the what is the answer. I don't know. And I respect so many people in this community that really work really hard to try to put those puzzles together. When I try to put the puzzles together, sometimes it makes it so it's hard for me to sleep at night because I can see the problem. I start putting together all the puzzles of the problem and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is insane. And then, figuring out the solution is very difficult. But there's a lot of people out there who are working really hard in this community, and I just want to extend my thank you to you guys for working so hard. I think the most positive thing that we have going for us is that there is a very big problem in the financial world. There's a very big problem in the way that money moves, and there's a very big problem with liquidity, especially soon. You could see there's a liquidity problem when a market can move down that is a market this large and can print a 15% negative candle in 1 week. That's liquidity issues. There was no buyers there, and we've been providing liquidity with overnight repo bailouts. So there's liquidity being pumped into the market, but it's not enough to stop it from falling at a rapid rate. Now, last week I did make a video showing how that, when you look at the stock market and you look at the Bitcoin chart and you compare them side by side, they clearly do move together. Now, I understand a lot of people don't like to see that. I get it. That there's been a big sales pitch on it that it's not a correlated asset, but we've seen in the past that they have moved together. However, there's one variable that does throw everything off, and that is what I showed on Monday's video regarding the dollar, and that's if the dollar falls. If the stock market falls and the dollar falls at the same time, that's a completely different scenario because we haven't seen that yet. We've only seen the dollar falling and the stock market rising at the same time and then Bitcoin rising with it. But we haven't seen the dollar falling and the stock market falling at the same time. And we know that Bitcoin and gold and silver react positively to the dollar falling. Now, you may say to yourself, well, how is that even possible? How can the dollar fall at the same time while the stock market is falling? If people are flocking away from the stock market and they're buying the dollar, then the dollar's price should go up. But we can see that from that tweet from the president. The intention is to print more money. The intention is to do more quantitative easing, more rate cutting, and just throw money, throw money. And in that situation where we're just throwing money like crazy, the dollar would fall, even at a pace faster than which people would be buying the dollar by selling their equity assets. So could we see something different this time? We definitely could. So the thing that makes cryptocurrency so appealing in this scenario is that, well, what is a dollar? I mean, it's just a piece of paper that you hold in your hand, right? It has value because you believe it has value. The same thing goes for cryptocurrency. It has value because we believe that it has value. The difference between cryptocurrency and the dollar is the dollar can't do anything. The only thing it can do is sit there on your desk, sit there in your wallet, and you can hand it to people, and that's all you can do with a dollar. However, this currency has a technology attached to it. This currency can move. There's a limited supply of it that can't be printed into oblivion. Now, you can make as many cryptocurrencies as you want, right? So technically, can't we just keep printing new cryptocurrencies for forever? Yep, absolutely. But that's where regulation is likely going to come into play. There's probably only going to be a few cryptocurrencies that will legally be able to use. And when you look at what Ripple is doing and how they're working with regulators and they've got all these government people on their team, and when you look at the fact that XRP is the fastest and most secure digital asset there is no question. You can't argue it. And when I think about what cryptocurrency am I going to be using when I'm paying for things internationally in the future, it's definitely not like Litecoin, or it's not like Dash, or it's not like Zcash or Monero or Tron. I'm not paying for any. I can't. None of those things are even close to being in the scenario where I'm, instead of doing wire transfers, I'm sending those types of cryptocurrencies. There's just nowhere near that. It's always XRP, and it's always using the company Ripple's software to help do that. So as the stock market reaches, potentially, are we going for new highs? Are we breaking down 40%? Is the gig up? Is it falling into oblivion? We'll all find out soon enough. But when I look at a market that's up in a bubble like the stock market is, and you look at all the things going on in the background for this market, and that this market is ready to start its new cycle, it leaves me really optimistic about where I'm positioned, right? I'm not positioned in the stock market. I'm positioned at the bottom of this bear market, ready for the next cycle. I walked into a bank the other day and just kind of joking around, just saying, everybody's surviving this week. No, it went in on like Tuesday. Yes, yesterday. And I was talking to them and I was like, hey, you guys surviving the week? And they're like, I just close my eyes and I don't look at it. And I'm like, oh man, you guys, you haven't even seen anything. If you haven't been in cryptocurrency before, then you know nothing. We've seen 50% in a week, no problem, all the time. But they're not ready for that. So it'll be interesting when you think about that, right? I was in another bank last week and I overheard a phone call, and it was somebody calling in, and this was when there was no bounce yet, right? The market was down, 12, 13, 14%. just last week, the stock market. And I overheard a phone call and somebody was being like, what do I do? I want to sell. I don't want to be in this. And you could hear the banker trying to calm the person down, saying, well, we're waiting for things to, kind of stabilize and bounce before we make any adjustments to portfolios and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh man. And me, I'm sitting there thinking, I know for a fact this banker has no idea what's going on, or she's just spitting the line that she's supposed to be spitting. But imagine when the masses are fleeing. Imagine when the masses, and the masses are not here right now. They are not here in the bottom of this bear market. But what's going to happen when those emotional masses of people are looking for safety, and it's us, and it's coming to us? And if you need the scenario of how does the crypto market reach incredible all-time highs, I want you to think about people panicking about that stock market and what they want to do with their investments. And then once these bankers have the option to say, well, cryptocurrency is doing okay, do you want to flip over to that? And they say yes, that day is coming. So, okay, we'll kind of start wrapping this up. We'll take one more peek at XRP. I think we're just barely there, guys. just finishing out this consolidation, and I do expect a break to the upside. Hopefully we get it soon, then I can post a video and be like, yay, we did it. We're out of that range. But until then, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I don't really know where this video went. It was kind of all over the place, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you are not following me on Twitter yet, please go follow me on Twitter at BCBacker. I do post updates up there, and yesterday I did post that I was not going to be doing a video, so I just try to keep you guys updated over there if of what's going on with me, if anything's changing with the YouTube channel for the day, or I'll post some charts sometimes. But either way, please follow me on Twitter. And I want to thank you so much for watching my video. Please like this video and give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.